Hi everyone, my name is Sarah Beth, and I just finished reading Anathem by Neal Stephenson. Please forgive me if I just butchered the name of this novel. This book was published in 2008 and is about 950 pages long. So it's rather large, but pretty on par if you've read any of her, Neal Stephenson novels. I do think that it's definitely one of his more challenging reads. I think that he just decided, I'm going full in on physics. Not necessarily, yes, it is science fiction, speculative fiction, but there are actual proofs in the back of this novel. Literally, you can see right here, there's a graph. And I enjoyed it quite a bit. I liked how philosophical the book was. I liked how it delved into the importance and how people, because the whole novel, basically, there is two different societies within the world. There is the extramos, or extras, and then the mathic world with their avouts. And the mathic world, the avouts, basically, they view not technology, but they view science and math and different, like, linguistics, all of those kind of educational aspects as a religion, while I'd say philosophy more than linguists. But then you have the extra world, which is just your general person, not a scholar. You got scholars and general people. And I love the way he developed this world. I think it's really rich with history. I did not read the introduction in the beginning that kind of gives you, lay of the land so you don't guess it as you come. But I like to kind of guess what things mean as you, approach them. And I didn't have a timeline to go off of. And I liked it better that way. So that's the kind of enjoyment I got from when your brain kind of clicks and you start to understand certain phrases, certain meanings, certain timelines of events that led us to where we are in current day of the book. There's also a really, really cool reveal near the end of the novel that I'm so happy that he put in there, just because for me, I kept scratching my head as to how the world completely, fit together with ours, and the way that he planted it, which was very much, I would say, really subtle. Not like so subtle I don't think people get it. I think everyone would get it when they read it. But I do think it's a challenging read. You have to, kind of gain new vocabulary to understand different things. It's not spoon-fed to you, but what are you going to expect from Neal Stephenson? He doesn't like to spoon-feed, except for certain novels where I think maybe he underestimated the general public, and this novel might have been his response to that. Or like, hey, I might have underestimated you before. Let's just throw something really hard at you. I didn't think it was all that hard. I think it's very much, if you're a capable reader in that kind of regard and you want to, force a little pressure on your mind, I think it's very enjoyable. I do believe that, I hate to say it, I don't think he stuck the landing for this book. And maybe part of that is there was a break in my reading. I read most of this book within a 2-week period. And then due to just, busyness of life, those kind of things, it took me about a month to finish off the last 250 pages or so of this novel. And it might have dampened my enjoyment of it, so I can't necessarily fully blame Neal Stephenson. But even then, I do believe that the end of the novel is just unsatisfactory. I think that there is a degree to which you can leave answers, you can leave things off unanswered. And I think while things were left unanswered and other things were answered to a nice degree, he just jumped around at the end a lot and made some stupid questions that didn't necessarily need to be there. I think he was trying to force this, philosophical ideal on us. Or I guess you could put it more like physics, more of a, the Schrodinger's cat experiment in the box. So maybe it relates to that, and he was kind of just trying to pressure that on the, reader. But I can't say that I liked it, but it felt empty. It felt kind of like he was trying to throw me a bone at the very last page, but at the same time, it wasn't enough for my satisfaction. It didn't feel concluded. It didn't feel like it ended on a cliffhanger. It just felt like it ended, which it's fine, because I enjoyed the rest of the book. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I loved how there's literal proofs at the back of the book. I like how you got to go through these proofs and you got to explore the world building in this book is phenomenal. And I'll give you the general premise. So we have basically society, the whole world has, and it's called Abre. It's been split into two societies. You got the Mathic world with the vouts, and that's our main character, who is Erasmus. He is in that community. They do not really get to converse much with the extramos, the outside world, the regular people that are not scholars and they're not devoting their life to the sciences. It's really interesting because this Mathic community of vouts, which includes our main character, they have been essentially sheltered away and they can only use there's a lot of forbidden plants, there's forbidden things you can study even, there are forbidden technologies, forbidden things you're able to produce. And they have this whole society that's really rich with a culture that's been developed over thousands of years and different uprisings, or sacks they'll call it, upon their communities to control them, which is really interesting how the community between the outside world and the inside world interacts, even though they can only interact like 10 days of a year, depending on which grouping you're in, because Erasmus, our main character, he's in the Decaders, so every 10 years they get to go see sunlight, and we come in right when their gate's about to open. I say sunlight, but I mean the outside world. They get the sunlight. And I love their communities and the way that they're formed. I think that the philosophical ideals brought into this book are quite amazing. And I don't want to go much into the conflict of the book because it doesn't come till pretty late in the novel. But I will say this, Erasmus does actually leave his Mathic world and goes out at some point. I won't tell you why, I won't tell you when, but he does go out and experience the world outside of his little secluded community. And I think that it's not a road trip story. Yes, there is a road trip involved, and it's not a coming of age or walk around the world. It's hard to describe this book because, yes, there's a plot. Plot is pretty strong, but I do believe that it's much more centered around the world that has been created and the ideas of how this world works. Is it a good world? Why do these people act in such a way, whether it be outside or inside? And how does it relate to our world as the readers, the ones that we live in? And I love the subtle givings that he tells us to kind of taint our understanding of that world to our world. And just understanding that their culture, how they got there, what kind of things led them to the space that they are currently in today, is just, I think it's a masterpiece. I don't think it's his best work, once again, because he didn't stick the landing. Personally, for me, my favorite Neal Stephenson work is Snow Crash. I think that's his strongest for me. I think that he was very clear on what he wanted to say, and he ended it well, and I knew all of the characters. When the characters came up, I knew exactly who they were, no question about it, and I loved all of them. And, there was times that it would surprise me. This one made a lot of surprises as well, but I don't think the characters were as strong, and once again, the ending wasn't strong as well. Our main character he's a pretty strong character. I like that he's more of an everyday man character. I don't feel that he's the best of the best in anything, and you kind of get to walk through his world as more as an average person, which I enjoyed, because yes, he's the hero of our story, kind of, but he's more of just our way into everything that's happening. He's never the leader. He's never the one spurring the events. He's kind of garnering an understanding as we are from the reader's point of view. So I enjoyed it. If you like Neal Stephenson, I'm going to recommend it. I think that it's really different from other pieces of sci-fi and speculative fiction, but just because it has this religious undertone to it that I think it's just so interesting. It's so new. I don't think I've ever read a book exactly like this, and to me, that's just amazing. If you've never read his works before, I think I've said this before, I think you should always start with Snow Crash. I think it's the best way in because it's challenging, but not that challenging. This one's a bit more on the challenging scale. I don't think it might be on par with Cryptonomicon in my opinion as far as challenging goes, but I don't think I like it more than his easier works like Ream D and Zodiac, or I wasn't putting in that much effort to read the book, and I feel like that kind of stunted my enjoyment a bit. So yeah, this is definitely a recommendation for me if you already like his works and you want a little bit of a challenge in there. Anyway, I hope you enjoy my review and have a good one.